Good evening. Welcome back. Hope you guys are doing good tonight. Going into a long weekend if you have off. Bear with me as we get everyone on. My apologies if you're checking the time and see that I'm a little behind. Had a call run just a little over, and now I'm here. So, tonight we are going to get into some education things, some things that I think should be talked about, considering that you guys don't have any formal education on, how your passport works, how to move abroad, how to move around abroad, even from a travel perspective. So many people call my phone and ask me so many different questions, knowing that I live abroad and have been for such a long time. And it leads me to believe and understand realistically that there are so many people that do not have a a real understanding of what and how their passport, like which ways to utilize it, what to do if I'm looking to move abroad, and how to kind of tune into the noise versus, excuse me, not the noise, drown out the noise and tune into actually like reality. And reality is your passport works in many ways where a lot of Americans don't understand. And I get it. There is a scenario that goes on where no matter if you have gone to a good school, if you have gone to a good college, and you have done what you were supposed to do, what part of your educational journey did they sit down and say, this is how you go about getting a passport? This is how you renew a passport. This is where this passport will take you. Now, we all know that the passport will at least get you on the other side of the TSA. But depending on what kind of passport you have, obviously, if you're an American, you probably have an American passport. But depending on what country your passport is from, that lets you into a certain amount of countries or denies you entry into a certain amount of countries. Those are also complete denials in things that are called visa free. So, visas, and you guys think, well, Visa, MasterCard. No, no, no. Visas are things that you need to enter a country. And the different categories comes down to the different kinds of ways that you can enter a country. Then there's also residency. Residency doesn't make you a citizen of the country, but it allows you to live long term. And these things are really nuanced when you talk about moving abroad because I get so many people asking me about, well, I haven't been, or I'm even just looking to move abroad. What visas do I need to get? And I realize that so many of you guys don't actually understand that your American passport is going to get you certain time and certain places. Now, it will vary. Saw a video today, I reposted it, said that I think it was down to number 10 or maybe even lower than that, the United States passport, as far as how many countries you have visa free access to. And you might think, oh, well, no, it's just a visa. What could it take? Well, some places, right now, it costs money, even as an American, to go and visit as a tourist on a tourist visa. When I live coming from Colombia, what I often see on planes coming from Colombia back into the United States, people with a lot of paperwork. They've got all these documents and things printed out and not realizing that, oh, well, they've got to have a certain visa to get into the United States and they've got to have all of their documents. Now, you may not realize that most of the places that you guys are going, you really just can show up with your passport. But it's not you just showing up with your passport. Most people understand the thought process of passport stamps. Getting a passport stamp. Oh, I want to get a new passport stamp from a new country. But do you know what that stamp actually does? One, it lets the government know that you are there. Two, it has a date on it. Now, depending on what country you're going to, that passport stamp allows you into that country for a certain amount of time on that one stamp. So, in many places, it's 90 days. That one stamp, when you go from United States to Mexico, that one stamp can get you 90 days consecutively. So if you stay from January 1st all the way through 90 days consecutively, do not leave the country of Mexico. You are technically within that passport stamp's legal limits. Now, there is not a blanket statement across the world. You can't say, oh, well, it's 90 days everywhere. No. If you have an American passport, it's 90 days a lot of places. But that varies. What also varies is how much it may cost. Many places are free, but depending on how advanced you are as a traveler, you might go to some places that are starting or are charging Americans to get in. We Americans getting into Colombia doesn't cost, whereas a Canadian, it may cost money to get their tourist visa. And so many people not realizing that it gives you 90 days, but it also visa free in many of these places get you 180 days for the entire calendar year. Now, if you were to say, all right, I'm going to stay all 180 days consecutively, well, that first stamp would get you 90, and then you would have to file for an extension. That extension can be granted up to another 190, 90 days, which would give you a cumulative of 180 days in a year. However, what most people do is they may spend or break up that time. So if you were to go somewhere for 3 weeks and for the year you have 190 days, well, that passport stamp that they gave you when you came in immigration, that gives you 90, but you only used 14 days of it or 21 days of it, and then you left. Well, immediately on the other side of another country, your time in that country stops. I'm bringing this all to light because a lot of people are looking to move abroad, but not understanding how your passport works and understanding that before you go and commit, because you do need to get in a new relationship. It's not like your dating life where if you've been in a long-term relationship like the one you're in with America, you can just travel or not even travel, just be single for a while. Yes, you can still be country single, but you're going to have to get under somebody's into somebody's country. If you're out of there, you're going to have to get in bed with somebody else. But not understanding what your tools are to navigate said beds can be, the start of a bad journey should you not know how to navigate it. So making certain that wherever it is that you're looking, how many days do I get visa free? These things are important because you don't want to be you don't want to be in a position to be even on the other side where you've overstayed that 90 days. Thinking, oh, well, I got 180, but I didn't file an extension. It's like, if you like that place, I would never run into being, oh, day over. Like, yes, you can. There may be a fine, there may not be. Those things are isolated down to so many factors that aren't in your hands. I always tell people to keep a running tab of how many days you are there, how many days you have, and on this particular stamp, and how many days you have left in the year. This way, you don't have to guess because you don't want to stay over. Because if for some reason they say, well, you can't come for the rest of the year. What's your favorite place in the world that you found? What if they said you couldn't come for the rest of the year? All because you stayed 2 days? And no, that doesn't always happen, but everything is a discretion thing on the other side of the United States. So maybe that doesn't happen, but if somebody's having a bad day and you happen to look wrong at them, you might not get the answer that you would like. And the discretion says, here is the law of the land. And today, that is the law that you need to do X, Y, and Z as far as leaving, as far as you want to pay a fine. These things are all in your control in the sense of you can prepare and educate yourself before you even leave the United States. You need to step into reality because people are like, oh, I need to go get my residency before I go to move. And I'm like, I mean, you can, but Ask yourself, how much time have you spent in these places? If you haven't spent a lot of time, and I don't mean, oh, I spent 2 weeks here and then another 2 weeks here. I just told you, if you didn't know, that you can get up to 180 days visa free in many of these countries that are the top expat destinations. Many of the places that you're looking to go, you can get up to 180 days. You can go there for 3 straight months and decide, do I like it? Do I want to purchase a house here? Do I want to go and actually get a lease here, or just bring all my stuff here? Wouldn't 90 days give you at least an understanding before you're going to file visa paperwork that is further than your passport? Because you guys don't even know that this visa paperwork in the categories, got the residency, you've got your migrant, you've got your tourist visa. These things, they all are going to ask you for a lot of personal information. Did you know that? That they ask you for a lot of information about who you are? Yeah. So many of you guys don't even realize that I did. I got shared a video the other day, and I was like, this is a good video. Shout outs to her. She's talking about the paperwork that you need for these visas, and you guys are like willing to go put all your information out in front of another government. I know you're looking to leave your government, but understanding that you're going, like, we're going to get into exactly what you have to give in a lot of these places, but the thought process to put all of these eggs in one basket, to go spending money, working with the lawyer, doing all of these things. Like, yes, you can leave in the time frame that you want to, but before you go getting certain visas, I think you should at least spend 3 months. At the very least, do the 90 days, like 90 days in, do 90 days in, like seriously, because it will better equip you to understand what you're going to experience as a normal life there. Not just, oh, I was here for 2 weeks and it happened to be this festival, so every day was a party. Like, yeah, it may be like that on some days, but what do you do when there's nothing going on? Do you feel like it's the exact same place that you told everybody about and went home and sold all your stuff, and then you got here and it's like, well, where's all the fanfare that I saw? I was like, well, that was a festival time. So normally things aren't really like that. It's kind of like sleepy around here. Well, I didn't know that. Well, now you've got a whole visa for a year or two in a place that was just sold on the 2 weeks that you spent there. So you guys have to realize, because before we talk about that, as far as what paperwork you need, you got to understand that these things aren't, I'm not just saying them. These things are things that people are already going through. People are already understanding that, like, well, I done sold everything and I went and I got the visa, applied for it in the United States, hadn't really spent a lot of time there. I just went with my tourist goggles on, and then I got there and it wasn't what I thought it was, or things in my life drastically changed and I wasn't able to sustain living abroad. That's another thing. What are you going to do? Because this is your first time. You say some people have global jobs, other people have remote jobs. And maybe in the fine print it says in the United States. And you guys are so ready to go. You're willing to test your job, your career, the strength of a VPN. You're willing to go test all of this stuff. Sell everything. Talk to a lawyer or go apply for the visa by yourself. And I'm like, y'all don't even know what the water feels like out here. Y'all have no idea yet. Here you are. Here you are in the understanding of ready to go into ponds, rivers, and lakes that you aren't used to, as if you are Michael Phelps. You guys have to understand, like, 3 months could be like, oh, well, it was great. But then, like, my job said, hey, you look like you're in Mexico. Excuse me? Then you reroute your VPN and you say, well, what does it say now? They say, Mexico, where are you at? Then you need to go home and figure out a plan that you can work remotely. But what if you sold all your stuff? What if you went and spent money to go get a visa? Because let's get into it. The documents have gotten way more convoluted than what it was when I started 3 years ago. You didn't need half the documents that you need now. Like, you needed some of them. When I started, it may be like $300, $400. max for like one person. Now the people were saying, getting quoted 1,500 USD, and I'm like, man, that's tough per person. That's crazy. But they're asking for FBI background checks. That wasn't a thing when I first came out of the United States. Now you got to get FBI background check. You need to get your fingerprints done. You need to get certain documents translated professionally, not by ChatGPT. I know you guys are like, all right, ChatGPT can do it. And I'm like, they can translate it, but who's going to recognize it? No one. Things need to be professionally done. You're dealing with an immigration scenario. I know you're not wrapping your head around you being an American and you being an immigrant, but you are looking at you're moving abroad, becoming an immigrant. Yes, wrap your little head around it. You can call it an expat, you can call it a digital nomad, you can call it whatever it is. At the end of the day, you're leaving the United States because things aren't right there. You want to take the resources and whatever you have and move elsewhere for greener pastures. I get it. But yes, immigrant, you are migrating. So these things are really important to wrap your head around because looking into these documents, the apostille scenario, outside of you getting these documents translated, you got to get them apostille, which is pretty much like a professional service that the government says this is we need they need to go do this or this needs to be verified this way in order for us to look at these documents as if they're valid. Pretty much like what is that, like a notary? Pretty much the same thing. But depending on what kind of job you have is depending on what and how many of these documents you need. Now, remember when the last time I had applied, it was like, okay, well, I need to get show active in the state for my business, and then I need to have write a motivation letter for my business, and then, well, luckily my lawyer wrote the motivation letter because he knows what I do, but he also I had to get certain documents like from the state that says, hey, this is a business and organization. They had to be professionally translated, and I had to request them from certain places that cost money. And this thing was just getting more and more expensive. The last time I spent, I told you it was like first maybe $300-400, and maybe the next time was like six 657, which is way cheaper than 1500. But depends on where you go. I don't know where you're going, but these things are important. Also, what you need to give them, which is real personal information, is your bank statement. How can you prove to them how much money, even if it's $1,000 on a digital nomad visa? Well, show me. You just want to tell them? No, you need to show them. So you need to show them bank statements. Do you see how much paperwork and things that you need to expose about your life? Things that you need to go prove how you making money and these things. Not saying that you're not making money in any legal ways. I'm not saying that. I'm saying there is a lot of paperwork outside of the easiest thing to do before you go and getting in bed with another country. You just use your passport. Maybe you found out how it works tonight. Maybe you didn't know that that stamp that wasn't just something for the gram, something to take a picture of and put in your scrapbook. No, it gives you some time there, a certain amount of time. If you were to stay over and you were to be driving around in the country and they pulled your passport up and 38 days passed, they could technically deport you from right there. These things are written in your passport, but most of y'all don't really look at it. The other thing that most people don't realize, all my travelers, the people that are always on the road, you need two things that are really important that I think a lot of people forget. One, if your passport is under a year before it expires, renew it. If it gets even close to that, I don't even feel comfortable, just to be honest with you. That is something because most of these countries will not let you in unless you have 6 months. Well, 6 months kind of coincides with how much time you're supposed to be there for the calendar year. You kind of heard that before, but you didn't really put two and two together. So you need to have at least 6 months on your on your passport in some places. In other places, once again, discretion. Maybe somebody let you in, you only have 4 months. Maybe somebody, but 6 months. Honestly, my best recommendation, it get close to a year. It's good for I think 10 years as long as you're an adult. You had it for 9 years, go get a new one. You had it for 8.5 years, go get a new one. Why run it out? Because if there's a mass run to the passport office or things get weird again and you can't get a passport renewed for 13 weeks, What do you do? So I always stay ready. That way I ain't got to get ready. And I'm already out. So these are things that I was even employing when I was back there. But another thing that a lot of people don't realize about their passport is you travelers, the ones that have the small passport with the little bit of pages in there. Oh, well, if you run out of spaces for these stamps because you've been Carmen, San Diego, and everywhere around the world, well, there's nowhere to stamp you in. And I'm not stamping over another one. They won't let you travel if you don't have any pages. You may need a certain amount of pages in order to travel. These things aren't taught in our schools. Listen, the stuff that they are teaching y'all, 52% of y'all are coming out not being able to read past Harry Potter in the baby girls, was a babysitters club, sixth grade. These things are not your fault. But hopefully you're learning something here tonight that you're not going to sit here and say, all right, well, tomorrow I'm going to go, never mind that advice and go start doing my visa in a place where I'm like, name three neighborhoods in the place that you're saying, in the city that you're saying. Oh, I'm going to Columbia. Okay, well, what part? I don't know. Name the city. Oh, I'm going to Medellin. Okay, name three neighborhoods. If you can't name three neighborhoods, then how can you say that you're actually moving there? Why would you do it? What's the point? There's no actual reason for you to put yourself behind the eight ball, considering that you are in a position to give up everything that you know, everyone that you love. You may be willing to walk away and say, you know what, y'all want to visit me on the other side of the TSA. But realistically, why would you put yourself in a scenario when you can get 6 months? So many people wish they could have a passport that could go 6 months, 180 days to so many countries. Now, unfortunately, America is making it harder on us, so a lot more countries are saying, America, I'm going to take that country off. Now they need a visa, and now we're going to charge them because politics. Those are things out of our hands. But knowing how your United States passport works is going to be one of your biggest keys to success before you go and put all your eggs in one basket, before you go sell everything you own and then be like, oh, well, I'm just going to go here and I'm going to pay all the money and then I'm going to get the visa and then I'll just be there for 6 months. But what if you don't like it? You went through all of that for nothing. If you don't have the 90 days or 180 days to actually be in a scenario where you take the time and look around and figure out what you like about the place, the neighborhood that you want to be, then how can you go sell all your stuff and move abroad? You don't have 90 days to figure out that you're making the right decision. You don't have 180 days to go spend 90 days in one place and maybe go spend another 90 days in another place and compare the two. I'm telling you, I got stuck because I realized that I wasn't gonna get what I was getting in the first place in the second place. My path out. I left from South Florida, suburbs of Fort Lauderdale. Then went to Medellin, and I was going to be like, all right, cool. I'm going to be here for 3 months, 90 days, and then I'm going to Mexico. I'm like, bet. Got to Medellin, it's mountains, weather's perfect. Didn't need air conditioning nor heat. Things were so like they were definitely a different price than what we were paying in South Florida. Um, what else? The people were nice. Um, there were a lot of people that were open to showing me more of the culture, the Afro Colombian culture, the culture in general. I was meeting people that I liked. They were cool. I was like, I'm not leaving. And it wasn't because I wasn't willing to go to Mexico, but I started thinking. I started realizing that, well, and I just moved from a beach city kind of area, and in beach cities, yes, you got the beach, and yes, there's always a pool party, but how many pool parties can you do? Like, how many days can you go to the beach? And some people really love the beach and really love it being warm, but if you can't go out every day until 6 p.m., what's that like? Like I've done the party wave, I've done all of that, but if I'm not willing to do that, and I say, you know what, I actually like everything that I'm getting involved in just the 3 months. So instead, I stayed another 3 months. And then after that, towards the end of the 3 months, I said, I actually think need to get the nomad visa because I don't want to leave. And then that was the process that I took. Now, you might take the exact same way where you start off in your first place and then you really start to soak it in and consider going to somewhere else. And you're like, but it's still not saying that you can't go there at one point. It's just these are all intentional and due diligent decisions based off of me understanding how my passport was going to work before I was willing to go get in bed with somebody, which is another country, show them how much money I make in a month, show them give them my FBI background check. I don't have anything on my FBI background check, but you're just asking a lot for the first date. Am I right? You want my fingerprints? Damn. Okay. Some of you guys got to also in these visa scenarios, depending on if you're coming with your children, got to have these birth certificates. These things are really important. These things, especially considering also, depending on how old your kid is, maybe their first passport. Because kids change so fast, their passport doesn't uh, expire 10 years from when you get it. Their passport is way lower because from 4 to 8, they're going to look completely different. They're going to maybe look taller or wider, whatever the case is. Like, you realize now how much paperwork it is before you actually you can't name 3 neighborhoods in the city that you're looking to go to, but you're ready to pack up your whole family, sell everything, and just drop yourself there. Please do yourself a favor. We told y'all about these time zones, and you're doing, never mind staying on this side of the world, you're moving with no passport experience and understanding on the other side of the world, all the way over there. It could take you, depending on how long, because if you want the most direct flight, it might take $2,000. The most cheapest flight might take you 5 stops. It might be like 7, 8, $900. These things are reality. People don't realize that, like, all of this factors in. And that's why I'm trying to have this conversation with you guys tonight, because you don't understand. There is no formal education around this is how your United States passport works. This is why you shouldn't be looking for residency or digital nomad visas. Yes, you can understand what the process is should you go down it once you get to it, but why are you applying for a digital nomad visa in a place that you spent 3 cumulative weeks 4 times? 3 cumulative weeks 4 times over 2 years. And you're like, well, I'm seeing all this stuff about Medellin. And I love it out there. And every time I go, it feels great. So I'm just going to go get the nomad visa. And it's like, yes, I mean, like, don't get me wrong. Lawyers will gladly take your money and apply. Great. But my job is to hopefully put you in a position to have long term success. Yes, you can apply for the digital nomad visa in most of these places from where you are. But for what? What's the point? Where is the advantage for you? You putting yourself into a scenario where you're exposing a lot of yourself. You're putting up unnecessary money. And like I told y'all have these weapons of the ways that you can actually like have a little advantage that have never been presented to you as a weapon that is in your tool belt ever. Your passport. I told you guys, this is a weapon for you. Not having visa free access to places because you have a blue passport. That's not something you can exercise within the United States. Well, I have a United States passport. They're like, well, welcome to Alabama. Like, I don't care. Like, sit down, eat Cracker Barrel. Like, that's it doesn't do anything in the United States for you at all. But the moment you go out, now you're like, well, I don't need a visa to go here, so I can get 90 days once I go get a stamp. That is valuable to you. It's extremely valuable to you. That 180 days is valuable to you. Understanding that you guys are contacting me, asking me, well, what jobs can I get abroad? And I'm just so confused. Just another thing that you guys don't realize the weapons that you have, which is the United States dollar. Call it whatever you want, but the United States dollar and the euro are probably on par with the strongest dollars that you can use around the world. And I say that is because you guys are programmed to go after 100,000 or go after a million or go after a certain number. And I'm like, things don't cost as much. So as long as you can take your ability to get a online remote work USD job, you would be surprised what dollar amount would at least afford you the exact same lifestyle that you have in the United States. And never mind a better lifestyle than you are probably afforded in the United States with said dollar amount. You might make $75,000 a year and be like, things are tough. Like I'm struggling. And somebody might hear that and say, I make 30,000. How is somebody with $75,000 struggling? Well, one perspective is definitely going to be relative to the person that it comes down to. But two, you guys have to understand that the United States is so outrageously priced that you aren't ever going to be ever in a scenario where that 30,000 that barely affords you house and home in the United States wouldn't afford you that in, I mean, a lot of places. I hear places even like Europe where it's like, yeah, you can get a nice place for like $700, $800, $900, where of your own in the United States, depending on where you live. It's it's kind of eye opening because I realized that, like I said, a lot of us don't realize that the United States isn't what we've been sold. So what we have to do is educate ourselves with the passport, get better understanding of how these things work. Can you get a visa, nomad visa? Can you get a residency, a temporary residency to Mexico or the DR and these places? Yes, you can. But without knowing at least three neighborhoods and really spending some time there, I'm saying, what is the point? Now, there's plenty of people now that I'm saying that, I'm saying plenty of people, but there's relocation experts and people that want to push you to certain things. They want to push you to purchase a house. Take $120,000, $130,000, and you should purchase a property for you and your family to live. But they won't ask you, well, what neighborhood? Because you don't know what neighborhoods, and they want you to microwave it, or they're going to tell you what neighborhood that you should live in, based off of probably vested interest. Yo, well, you should go get the visa. How many people from that live in America can I get to sign up for the digital nomad visa through my lawyer contact that I have down here? But how many of those people actually have gone down to the place, have spent time in the neighborhoods, know what you do on a Tuesday, know what you do on a Sunday? If you don't know what you do, let me. This is a shout out to Erica and the Walkers. But if you don't know what you do on a Sunday in Medellin and what it's called, then you aren't ready to move. And it's something super cool, super chill. But these are things people are like, I'm willing to do this. I'm willing to move. I'm about to buy property. I'm about to do this. And they can't tell you the basics. They don't even know what a paisa is, a parcero is. They, they, they can't tell you basic things. But America has programmed us to think that let's just take this and let's just go. We've got everything we need. Went to the best schools. We've got money. We're going to take this and we're going to just have success immediately. And it's like, I want more of you to have success. So many people forget that humanity is about relationships, is about community, it's about neighborhood. So many of you guys are like, well, I'll take my money and my money is going to give me what it is that I need. And I'm like, well, yes and no. Like, because one, your money is actually going to get you because you're going to be, if you're a black person for certain, you're definitely going to be, first time you may get treated like an American. And then they're going to be like, oh, well, you have money. They're going to look at your watch and be like, oh, that's a Rolex. Like, you're showing that because you want people to think that that's how you get your property appraised at a higher rate in the United States, but abroad it just shows I have money to spend. So the price is one price for you, and it's a whole different price for people that aren't showing that out, that aren't that do have a hold of the language and are able to navigate that, or even smart enough to have somebody navigate it for them. I see these things in the United States where they're like, oh, well, we had the appraiser come in, and the person that was there waiting for the appraiser to come in, well, it was one of my pale homies. And then we had nothing but pictures of them and their family in the house. House got appraised for $500,000 more than it was a week before with us and everybody in the house. That is what we've gone through in the United States. Yet we go outside and not realizing that we look like we have money, even if you don't. So understand, like, you need to have experience and education, or somebody at least to hold your hand, because you guys are jumping out of the United States with the United States' rules on your back and saying, when I land, it'll be right there. Not realizing that your relationships abroad are more important than transactional things like how we are used to in the United States. You can call somebody up and this is a transaction. They're just going to come here and do this. And the price is, here's the price. It's listed on their website. You know how many times I go into places in abroad and I'm like, where's the price? Well, prices depends on what you're going to say out of your mouth. They might already know that you're American, but you might say, "Oh, that's bad." I'm like, "No, this is just how things work out of the United States." So people pushing you to do things that is going to make them money. Obviously, you see what the benefit of them is, but maybe this conversation let you wake up and say, "Well, not saying I wasn't going to go through them or pay them, but wouldn't I want to do it with a little bit more certainty on my end?" You guys think that you can just Google anything and anyone abroad and then the right answer is going to pop up and then everything is going to go smooth. DIY, I can do it by myself. Okay. Listen, you don't have to utilize me. I'm only one resource. Like I said, I'm not even by myself. I have an entire team of experts that all have individual hats because I needed all of these people. I just bring them to you. I'm just the voice of these people to show you that you guys are in a different position than you actually think you are. You guys think that you're just treating this as if this is a normal scenario. This is a normal move. We have this conversation tonight because I realize you don't understand how your passport works. You guys don't understand that your passport is actually your friend. America actually gave you something, guys. They gave you a blue passport, and you can use it to better your life and go somewhere else. You can use the dollars that don't make no sense. They pay me $35,000 a year to do what? As long as you can do a remote, you be like, man, I thought I was only making barely anything to keep the lights on. I have enough money to go take myself out to a nice meal, have a good time. My life is way different on that 35,000. How is that possible? No, you got to realize that you also have to take your expectations into a certain way because most people think that you can take your exact same lifestyle and then just drop it into somewhere else and think that that is exactly how things are going to go. And I tell you, that's not the case at all either. So many people, I went through that during the pandemic where during the pandemic, all the beaches shut down. Well, a lot of the beaches in Fort Lauderdale shut down. But because everybody in New York was stuck in the house and it was hot, I mean, it was cold, they just all moved to Florida and they're just paying, $4,000 or $5,000 for nothing. So what they ended up doing was raising the rates of how much everything costs, which factored into how much I ended up and why I left. Because I was like, I'm not paying $3,000 a month for this. Like, that's outrageous. Like, Godspeed. Good luck. But these things can also happen abroad, and we have to be realizing that because many of us haven't been in a position of displacers and colonization or gentrification. And understanding, having an education of how your passport works and understanding how your US dollars work abroad, you do have to realize that yes, your US dollars do go further abroad than they were, but that doesn't justify you or it doesn't justify you to pay $1,500 for something that costs $1,000 or something that costs $500. That is why I tell people when you go about looking abroad and looking for housing, like there are enough groups and you should hopefully have enough context if you have done and doing your research to get put into places and people that are vetted resources in real estate. They're also going to do what they can to keep the price competitive. Now, a lot of you guys don't realize because America has told you a bunch of stuff about other places. Like, oh, it's a third world country. They don't have any money. I'm like, it's not true. It's not true at all. In Medellin, they have plenty of money, plenty of beautiful cars. I've seen a Cybertruck. I've seen I lived across the street from like the Porsche dealership. I've seen Ferraris. I've seen a bunch of different things, Benzes, like BMWs, drop tops. Like I've seen them all. So people have money. So don't think that oh well, this is a third world country, so the price is going to be $5,000 for the best condo in this. Like things cost money. People need to be paid. You guys need to understand that there is an there is an education factor that needs to factor into moving abroad. Realizing that you aren't the smartest person in the room when it comes to this. You didn't even know how your passport worked at the beginning of this conversation. You were just looking up how can I get the digital nomad visa to Thailand and only have been on TikTok and YouTube. Why? Name the neighborhoods. Get comfortable being uncomfortable so that way when you get there, you can really start to grow. These things weren't designed. America is not looking forward to you leaving. They need you. They need you, buddy. But you are at a position where you're like, I'm about to go. So many people also don't even realize. I got folks that are like, I'm about to retire. I'm a military vet. I got to stay in the United States. And it's like, I know so many military vets that are my age or a little bit younger than me, and they're living abroad. That pension that barely puts nickels together in the United States, it gets you a lot further here. And there's different places we actually have military VAs. I know Medellin has one. Other places may have them, but you'd be surprised how many military people are out there. The ability to get access to better health care for people that are retired. I tell people, even the retired people, well, I'm retired, so I should just go get the retirement visa. No, I don't know what kind of retired you are. I tell people getting all the way to 65 and then being told this is when you can start having fun. You've got all the money, so you can start seeing the world. Well, I tell you, that's a kind of crap because how do you feel? How does your body feel at 65 years old? Does it feel like it did at 45, 55, 35? I doubt it. And that's what brings into a scenario because you guys don't haven't really spent time, been on the ground. You don't have a car out there, huh? Go walk to the grocery store and then come back with groceries and walk back. Because that's what you're gonna have to do to get your groceries. Oh well, stop lying to yourself. Places I've realized, I tell people when they come to Medellin, when they come to Colombia, I'm like, do you have mobility issues? Do you have problems walking upstairs? Do you have problems walking up hills? Do you have vertigo? Do you have issues being in mountains because you can get altitude sickness all the way up there? Like these things are realistic. Oh, but you just thought everything was great because of what you saw on YouTube and on TikTok and on Instagram, but you haven't even really spent enough time. Walk in the neighborhoods. Oh, I love Poblado. It looks so beautiful. You have only been in that area where you're saying that you love in the daytime. You might be bringing a dog back and have to go out at nighttime. What does it look like back then? The dog didn't come with you on vacation. What does it look like? Oh, well, you want to bring your dog for the 90 days and see what that's like? Oh, well, you got to import your dog, and there's fees and paperwork that goes with that. Oh, and when you leave and he tries to come back, you have to import him again. So every time so these are things that people aren't putting on their plate. They're just ready to go. And the people that are going to receive your money are like, come on, let's just do it. Look, I tell you, if you don't want to go through me, that's no problem. But you need to adhere to something that I'm saying, some of these things that I'm saying, because a lot of people are just saying, yes, the light is on. Please send me your funds. You want to go abroad? Come this way. And it's just like, no heads up. You're telling people that haven't spent 90 days there to realize what's going on the ground, but now you have a temporary residency visa. Now you have a digital nomad visa. For what? This is your life. Listen, unless they are charging outrageous price, can't nobody be making that much money on one visa off of you to be pushing people that hard. You can't. There's 1,000 things that we do that make money. The visa is just not going to be something that I'm going to tell you, because you need to have trust. You need to have understanding that this isn't about a dollar. Yes, everybody needs money to live, but this is there's so many other things I can do that make money. But this is about y'all, because I realized in looking back and considering that there were so many people that were going to have a lot of emotions that were stirred up. I knew why I left, but I knew there was going to be a whole bunch of people that were going to be looking to leave because something happened in the United States that wasn't, like I said, I left 3 years before, so it was already a little weird then. But after November, I knew everybody was going to be in this scenario. Everybody was going to be thinking, is this sustainable? But I knew you don't know where to start. I knew I didn't even know where to start. How does my passport work? What do I do? How can I do this? Do I speak the language? How can I start learning? Is it best for me to do this, or is it best for me to do this? What paperwork do I need, or do I need any paperwork? How do I find a trusted real estate person? I don't want to get scammed like I see in these Facebook groups, and people are like, "Oh, well, I don't have any money because somebody took $1,500 to hold an apartment for me, and they held it right in their pocket, and you never hear from them again." I didn't want that to be me, so I did my best to piece together the little bit of resources that I had at a time frame that these things weren't readily present. And then when I considered that everybody would be back at the crossroads that I was, but with no resources once again, I said, we can't let this happen. Because I know how impactful this was for me. I know how impactful this is for me. I know what changed in my life. I can see the differences. I now know what value is for quality of life versus stuff and things that once was my thought process. These things are reality, but only if you actually take them from dream to reality. Maybe your dream is to move abroad. Great. But what do you want to do behind it? Are you willing to actually put in work? Are you willing to actually take the time that you need, understand, listen to people that will actually help guide you, hopefully wake something up in you? Yes, you're going through a lot, but that doesn't give you the right on yourself to just run out with no understanding, no resources, no understanding of what you hold and what weapons you have in your pocket already. Hopefully they in your closet now glowing, your resume glowing like, oh snap, I can make US dollars anywhere in the world. My resume is golden. Oh snap, this blue passport. I could literally try out places with, was it over 180 countries that are visa free. I can go to 180 places without having to do much paperwork besides bring a bag and a passport and show up and see if this place is okay for me before I go getting in bed with them, getting the covers all down, putting on your nightcap and your little sleep. Like, what you doing? Who told you to do that? They didn't even tell you to do that. You just thought about it yourself and decided, oh, this was a smart idea. It's not. Oh, you guys need to go get a second passport. Where are you gonna get a second passport from? Like, not like where. These places you're gonna get them, but where are you gonna get it? Do you know any of the obligations that come with said passport? Do you know any things that you have to do or have to maintain with doing that? Maybe a better passport is here, but you just went off the internet and said, well, everybody's getting a passport here, so I'll just go get one here. Once again, you get ready to give them all your FBI background checks, how much money you make, how much in your bank account, fingerprints, birth certificates, who you work for. If you're not who you work for, what job and business do you own? I'm not saying that you shouldn't at some point, but you should at least like know them a little bit. Like I told y'all can't go on these first dates with these countries with a wedding ring. Y'all look crazy. Hey, it's my first day in Medellin. I've got the digital nomad visa. It's your first day here, and you've already got it. Where are you staying? I think it's called Pablo. Though somebody's gonna take you for a ride. And I mean nothing like bad's gonna happen to you from like a physical perspective, but somebody's probably gonna take you for a ride as far as you know. And nobody can be blamed because of you because there are more and more resources that are coming out. I'm doing my best to snap y'all out of it and make y'all realize just because you're in an abusive relationship don't mean you have to throw all reasoning out of the window with moving abroad. Some people will say, yes, call me today and I'll tell you how to get your digital nomad visa before you even come to Colombia. Why? That does nothing for me. This is about the people that I knew that needed somebody to be able to tell them something. This is about people that look like me having an opportunity to change the trajectory of their life. This isn't about a money grab. These are real life things. That's why the people that are involved really show up for this. The people that are in the conferences, the people that are the experts that are on our page, they're here because they know that it's difficult to piece all of this together. You don't even know how your passport works, never mind the four categories of the different kinds of visas that are available, the visa types. And then not realizing that there's so many subcategories under each visa type that it's almost endless and depends on the country. And so many of you are, I'm gonna do it all by myself, or that you're gonna take this task on. One, not even understanding that's how your passport works, sitting there, Chat GPT and everything before you even get to said country, all the way in the United States, because you Bob Vila, you just do it yourself. You just do it on your own. Listen, this can be the best time of your life, or this could be the reason that your life never changes. What would you like? I can't be the one that walks the journey for you, but I'm giving you the things that you're gonna need, the tools and the resources that you're gonna need on the journey to hopefully navigate your way to the life that you're looking to live. That's why I do my best to try to stay as general as possible because I don't know who needs to see this or who needs to hear this and who is watching. But I do know more conversations like this, yes, please. More conversations that are designed to one, make sure you know that you may not know everything when it comes to moving abroad. You might not know how your passport works, even though you're the most educated person around all your family and your friends. That's fine. But if they haven't went anywhere, I came from a family like that. People going places abroad was very limited. So that experience, nobody could say this is how your passport works. First time I ever went abroad, I'm old enough where I didn't even need a passport. I had a birth certificate. I was 16. I wasn't a baby. I was like 15, 16 years old. So I didn't get to traveling until with a passport until a lot later. And realizing that the calls that I'm getting are showing me that we just don't know. We just don't get this education. So hopefully this conversation tonight has given somebody some understanding on how their passport works. Help them kind of navigate because navigation is going to be key in this. Some of these pitfalls that you don't have to fall into. Understanding that you don't have to go put all your eggs in one basket. You do not have to be in a scenario where you're going on the first date with a country and you got an engagement ring in your pocket. Like, well, if it goes well, this will be the night. Our first date will be the engagement party. Like, you sound outrageous. I sound outrageous saying those things. But you have to have framing of what it is that you think that you're doing so that you understand the things that you may be seeing other people do. Don't let other people's 1% probability. You see people win the lottery every day. Do you feel like you need to go spend all your money on lottery tickets because somebody else won and you saw them win? Or do you need to focus on what you need to do? You need to focus on what your household and what those things will do so that way you can get back into feeling like, hey, I'm a part of the world. I'm a part of my community. I'm a part of the neighborhood. People actually care about me outside of what it is that I can do for them. People just want to hang out. You'd be surprised what's on the other side of the TSA. They don't want you to believe it, but there is another life on the other side of the TSA that might actually be a lot more than yours, better than yours. It's up to you to see it. Now, if you guys are perfectly fine in the United States and you happen to be staying this long and having a conversation with us, cool, no problem. This ain't conversation isn't for you. But if it is for you, if you're somebody that is looking to move abroad, one thing I need you to do if you aren't already there, I need you to go to YouTube. I need you to go to Black Expat Life Abroad. Black Expat Life Abroad. There you are going to see on YouTube over 150 videos that we have covering a numerous amount of topics. We have multiple conversations with experts, people that have lived in Ghana, people live in Qatar, people that live in Panama. Got so many additional things that are coming to you. I just need you to go there. I need you to like. I need you to comment. I need you to let me know what you need to hear because I know y'all got a lot of other things that I haven't covered yet. But what do you need to hear? Please comment. I see the comments. I will get these things onto the agenda. What I also need you to do is go there and follow. Make sure you subscribe. Also, one last thing. I know I'm asking for a lot. I need you to share this with somebody else because I know you might have a friend or a cousin or a family member that is like, I'm thinking about moving abroad. And you're like, you need to start here and at least just watch. There's plenty of things on there for them to pick their poison on what it is that they need to jump into this thing about. But please do me this favor, this way, this message, these opportunities for people to start changing the trajectory of their life. It continues. It doesn't just stop at this conversation. I appreciate you guys on a Friday, by the way, and because I was a little bit behind, my apologies, but it is a long weekend, so I will not see you Monday. I will see you next Tuesday. Put a hot dog and a hamburger on the grill for me. I am not in Estados Unidos, so there will be no cookouts. I key. But I will see you guys. Make certain that you are going there, following, like, and sharing, subscribing. If you are interested in any of our free resources on how to move to Colombia, signing up for our virtual conference, and any on-demand webinars that we have done, you guys can go to moodtravelcolumbia.com. That's two O's in mood, two O's in Columbia, moodtravelcolumbia.com. There we have all of the resources that you need. Keep your eyes on the streets. We have some things coming out for you guys that you are going to be so excited about. Can't wait to see you guys next week. Stay safe. And until then, my name is RJ Mood, and I will see you guys mañana. Oh, no, next week.